So, are you ready to eat some bugs? That's the plan that many feel that the powers that be have for us. I just put up over on, by the way, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. This is the second one that I'm putting up today because I just didn't want to leave these over for the next day, and I have a lot to do. But I just put one up over on the Patreon channel. It's a very interesting interview between Tucker Carlson. It's not a very long one, but between Tucker Carlson and a woman who is with the Dutch Farmers Association, I believe. I think that's what she's with. If that's not it, you'll see when you go over there. Talking about, and you may be familiar with what's been going on in the Netherlands with the farmers and the farmers' protests. The woman said in this, I didn't know this, but I can't swear that it's true because I don't know it myself, but I'm not doubting her, that the Netherlands is the second highest exporter of food products in the world behind the United States. I was surprised to hear that, don't know that to be true, but whatever it is, they have a long and robust history of agriculture in the Netherlands. And now they are under the WEF and everything else, they are, the farmers in the Netherlands are under some real threats. And that was, you could see the farmers' protests over there actually resulted, for those of you who don't think that politics and involvement in politics can do any good, it actually resulted in the Farmers' Party. I don't think that's what it's really called, but in the party that represents the farmers actually resulted in a very large representation in their government, and they are actually turning things around. Guys, I've said before, if you're sitting on a bench or if you didn't show up for the game, you're at fault, okay? Politics is the game we're playing. Politics is the war we're in. And if you're not showing up, you're not helping. Well, you are helping. You're helping the enemy, okay? So for all you good folks out there who do what you can politically, turn to your friend or your neighbor who doesn't, who has given up and said, all politics are dirty and they're all crooked and they're all corrupt, and turn to them and say that by not voting, by not being involved in politics, you are helping the oppressor. There's all sorts of famous sayings about this, and they're famous because they're true. One is that silence always helps the oppressor, never the oppressed. Silence meaning not being involved. Edmund Burke's famous saying that all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I have always said, I question whether in the face of evil, anyone who does nothing could be called good. I wouldn't call them good men. I would call them people who want to sit on the sidelines. I've never had much respect for people who want to sit on the sidelines. I don't know about you. So anyway, all this is, they're building up and they're running programs over there. I forget whether she says it in this interview or not, but they are implementing test programs over there in the Netherlands about insect food, not meaning food that you feed the insects, but human food for humans made from insects. Soylent Green, anyone? Well, pretty soon they'll start grinding up things you don't even want to know about. After they get the people that believe everything and go along with everything they do, and after they're eating these insect burgers because they've gotten them used to eating the non-meat burgers, right? Now insect burgers, and now they're going to start grinding up things that you don't want to know about and putting it in your insect burger. And everybody who went along with the scientists on the masks and everything like that will just gobble it up and say, our leaders say that it's right and it's good for us, and so that's what we're going to do. How about you? Are you ready to eat insects? Are you ready to eat things that you usually smash? I don't want to eat stuff I scrape off my shoes, and that could be next. What's your plan? What is your plan about that? You know, I always talk about the importance of overall preparedness. And too many people, and I've said this more and more lately, get stuck in the basic preparedness. Now, I know that basic preparedness is important, and I want to welcome all of you who are just now getting into preparedness. Welcome. I'm glad that you're involved. Don't worry about being behind the curve. Yeah, you're not where somebody is who started 20 years ago or 40 years ago, but at least you're starting now, and you're way ahead of the people who are not starting now. So good for you. The basics are easy to cover. You know, food, water, shelter, defense, things like that. I don't talk a lot about basic preparedness, I'll be honest, because I have a hard time going over the same stuff over and over and over and over again. And there are plenty of people out there talking about it as if it's new. Maybe I'll do one for newer people, but it's kind of like when I taught martial arts. When I first started, once I got a good group of white belts, and then yellow belts, and then orange belts, and they were good enough now to teach the white belts, I would only occasionally check back with them to make sure that they were teaching it right, because now my interest really was about teaching the higher ranks, and that's kind of what I do here. This is kind of a high rank area here where I don't do everybody's thinking for them, but I propose those ideas and those directions that people can take and run with, and I emphasize the fact that you can do it if you will do it. Okay? The ones who aren't going to do it are those who simply won't. They won't be involved. And you know what the old saying is, that whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. It's all about up here. But while I don't cover a lot of basic preparedness, I stress the importance of advanced preparedness, because I don't think that most people go beyond a certain point. Okay, now we have survived the first month of whatever it is. Okay, now we're good, right? No, you're not good. No, you're not good. I still see occasionally different preparedness channels will come out and talk about EMP. You know, whenever something comes out in the papers, or just whenever they'll come out and they'll make a video about EMP. Now, I think it's a good service, but most of them really don't know a lot about what they're talking about. It's good that they do it. They're bringing it to the attention of people. But too often I hear them say, well, you need to be ready for, to be on your own for 6 months. Guys. And then there will be others that say, it'll take them 6 months or whatever to replace the transformers. Guys, they'll never be replaced. If the grids go down in this country, and there's 3 of them, there's East, West, and Texas. I'm not going to go through all this again. I've made videos on this in the past. Maybe I'll do another one dedicated to EMP and CME. By the way, if you're really interested in that, we got some real smart ones that know the science of this. I don't know the science of it. That's why I stay away from the science of it. I know the reality of it. I know how to prepare for it and how to survive it. But if you want to know the science of it, over on the Patreon channel in the community section, Hondo Bob and some others have some unbelievable treatises, that means papers, explaining the science of these things. Let me just I like simplicity. If we are hit with an EMP or CME, which is what my books are about, you better begin to rebuild from pre-electricity days, and that means 1840s. Okay, there is a way to do it, and what I try to stress to people is that life doesn't have to suck if you are prepared and work hard. And to that, I want to direct you again to our sponsor of all of mine, and that is my books, the Stonemont series. If you are truly interested in preparedness and have not yet read these, you need to read them. And if you're only even now starting to become interested and understand the importance of preparedness, you need to read these as one of your first steps. They will keep you from going off in the wrong directions that so many people do. These cover everything. You know, it took, first one came out, The Reversion, out in 2017. So far, I've written 6 books. It covers everything that you could possibly ask and more that you haven't even thought about asking. It's a great story too. It's a story of, like I always say, it's a story about people, good people, bad people, good people kicking the asses of the bad people. It's about love, and it's about war, and it's about survival, and it's about preparedness. It's about people. It's about communities. It's about government. It's about what happened with our country, how our country went down in the ditch, and how they're trying to keep the next one from going down in the ditch. It's about different groups coming up and trying to control other groups, and those groups trying not to be controlled and trying to establish and maintain their own independence and sovereignty. It's about everything. It is the extent to which you need to go and to think if you want to be fully prepared, and that is advanced preparedness. Steve, how do we get them? Glad you asked. They're available through Amazon in either paperback or Kindle, and the link is down there, or you can order them from me directly, autographed if you would like, through our website at stonemont.us. That's US, not .com. stonemont.us. You can order them right away there and get them, and you should. So the question is, are you prepared for the big one? Because you should have a plan for that. You should go way beyond this 30-day deal. Well, you know, or surviving the tornado, or the, you know, whatever it is. Yeah, you should have a plan. You should have a plan for everything. The preparedness spectrum is wide, and you should have a plan for everything in there. You got to start at the beginning. Okay, what if something happens and my electricity goes out for 3 days? Okay, you have a plan for that. And then what if it goes out for a month? And then what if you lose your job? And then what if the financial system fails? And then what if all the way down till finally to everything falls apart? If you're living in California, you better have a plan for that big hole in the ocean, right? If you are planned for the collapse of the system, of the entire system, and they want you to eat bugs, you better have a plan so that you don't have to eat bugs. And so much goes into that. That takes thinking, and it takes planning, and it takes preparing. Your preparedness is up to you. You have to have an understanding. You have to educate yourself about it. You have to have an understanding of the many implications of surviving outside the system. And this is why I talk about the tenets of integrative preparedness, is being able to operate and live well, not just scraping by, outside and independent from those interconnected systems, external, over which you have little or no control. And that's the political system, the economic system, the judicial system, all of these things. The food system, you have to be able to live well independently of that. And that means not eating bugs, right? So they've got strange things coming up, folks. They want us totally under control. You know the saying that you control the food, you control the people. And then if you control the money, you control the people to an extent. Okay, but food is the basics. I just watched a movie that explains I talk a lot about the Irish, what they call the famine. It wasn't a famine at all. It was an orchestrated starvation. It was an elimination of an entire people. I'll talk about that on Patreon, because I'm going to talk about this movie that I suggest over on Patreon. I'll leave that there for now. If you don't want to eat bugs, you better have a plan. You better think about it, and you better understand that it is a real possibility, and this is what they are bringing your way. So remember, it's up to you. Have a plan. If you want to know a plan to build on, there's a plan for you. I've had preparedness experts all over the world tell me that they have learned so much from these books. I'm not bragging about myself, I'm just telling you. I've been in this game for a long time. I've thought about the things in detail that people now are just now becoming concerned about. There's my plan. I wrote it for you. You know where they're available. Links are down below. And join us on Patreon, because a lot more goes over there than goes on YouTube. And remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and that means keeping everything in mind, understanding the threats, taking those steps that you need to mitigate those threats. You all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.